Welcome to the SaaS AdLab podcast, where we bring to you the stories of SaaS founders, entrepreneurs, and CEOs. My name is Luis. I'm the owner and founder of Fantôm agency, a digital marketing agency specializing in scaling SaaS companies. And today I have the pleasure of interviewing Jeff. He's the founder of Direct Heroes. It's a software company that allows you to send out campaigns of direct messages through Instagram, which is pretty cool. And obviously, I'll let him talk a little bit more about that. So thank you so much for being on here today. It's a pleasure having you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
And why don't you tell us a little bit more about the company and then essentially how it kind of all got started?
Well, I started working online 5 years ago. So I'm 26 now. So just before I turned 21, started e-commerce. I invented a smartphone case. And when I first got them in from overseas, it was one of those things I actually didn't know how to market. So the first thing I did was jump on Instagram and start getting into kind of influencer campaigns, influencer shoutouts, charging product for shoutouts instead to kind of get the product moving. But what I found was there's a lot of people and a lot of influx through the direct messaging that I just wasn't able to keep up with. Fortunately enough for me, it was a really good product, did really well for the time being, but I burnt myself out doing everything. And I was always more of a tech guy anyways. I was always kind of in that field. So I ended up selling off the smartphone company. It did well and went right into the text-based kind of understanding just messaging in general, because this is when the Facebook Messenger chatbots were really kind of coming afloat, and then they started to really scale. So then me, just knowing Instagram, kind of understanding the platform like the back of my hand, I was like, there's got to be something out there that I can do this for my direct downlines, because I was in a couple affiliate programs, just kind of teaching people the business and all that stuff. I couldn't find anything. So I said, nope, enough's enough. I completely stopped all my affiliate companies, training people, all that stuff. And I hired my first developer in December 2016. No developing skill, nothing. We started working on it, and what it actually started out as was kind of like a 7-day follow-up sequence is what we wanted to do through direct messaging. And then again, following kind of the Facebook Messenger platform is kind of how we've evolved into what we have now. Now, additionally, with on Instagram is a username is not owned by the actual account. Yes, we have X amount of followers on it, but if for some reason your account gets shut down or Instagram decides that, no, we're not going to run Instagram anymore, you lose all of those people. Mm-hmm. So we want to teach people how to start collecting their data, the people's information off them. So by consent, so provide first name, provide last name, all that additional stuff, and then starting to build out lists within your direct messaging before you actually take them into your marketing list and stuff like that. And then additionally, it's just a chat bot that a lot of people already know. So the direct message conversation, you set up different flows that direct people based on conversation, tagging them based on answers, segmenting them into different flows based on actions they take. We also track the analytics of your account. So when somebody connects your account to Direct Heroes, there's the account as the whole, the engagement, the followers, but then we wanted to track it on an individual subscriber basis. So a subscriber is somebody who enters a campaign asking you for that, what you're trying to provide to them, track their analytics on how much they engage and what they do on your profile and stuff, because we want people to be able to run marketing campaigns based on how much engagement's on your profile. Right. Because with Direct Heroes, I try and teach people 4 different types of ROI. And if you look at them all as a whole, it can be super valuable. So you can get into ads and get people to direct message you, which is great because you don't have to worry about growing your accounts in a different way. Anyways, we get people to subscribe into our campaigns, which is 1. So somebody who messages you for that value proposition, whatever that may be. Overvalue, and then we gain them as a follower, just because you've provided them with so much value that they just have no reason not to follow you. Right. Additionally, with becoming a follower, continuing to provide them value, they're going to, and every time you message them, they're natively on your app every time they get that message. Your engagement will grow as well with the first 3 ROIs. Mm-hmm. If you can do those extremely well and actually focus on those 3 and not the back end sales, your sales will just roll in with it, because you're not selling anymore, you're building a brand. And people talk about the brand, and that's how it's continued to snowball. So in the beginning, you might not get as many sales, but again, once we gain these people as subscribers, we can set up exclusive campaigns and broadcast messages to them at a later date, natively on the Instagram app. That's never been done before.
That's really, really awesome. And essentially, this is all conversational marketing, right? Where you
Correct.
get everything. And if I'm familiar with what you're saying so far, it's very, very similar to something like ManyChat, but it's only on Instagram.
Correct. So we're not, obviously ManyChat's a lot older than we are in terms of development, but in terms of our development, anything that you can do on the Facebook Messenger bots is where we are going with the Instagram direct messaging bots.
And maybe this is a hard question to answer, but why do you think that someone like ManyChat hasn't made the switch into Instagram? Is it because it's very different demographics using the platforms, or is it just not their focus?
So this is kind of that $1 million question, a lot of hurdles that I've had to overcome. So unofficially, Facebook is in the process of developing the API for direct message marketing. So it is in that gray area of not official to Instagram. So ManyChat's doing extremely well with Facebook. So they're focusing on that. It's official. They're partners with Facebook, but nobody in the world can be official partners with Instagram right now.
Okay.
Unofficially. So that's kind of, it's more of where that, I guess, test market case. But what we've seen in terms of trends and who we've spoken to and all those is they're in the process of developing that API for the direct message marketing. And in the new year, they set up where you can boost a post on your page and your stories, your Instagram stories, which then people can direct message you directly from the ads.
Okay.
So if you had an ad set up and you put huge amount of money into it and it was just a perfect ad set, the creative was perfect, and everybody who's seen it direct messaged you, there's no way
you're going to get back to every single one.
You could get back to every single person. So there's little things like that, which is like, okay, great. They're working on it, which is good. And every month or two, there's something else. Like there was release where they're working on cross-platform messaging with WhatsApp, direct messaging, and Facebook Messenger. So there's a lot of stuff in the works, and it's kind of one of those things where message marketing, communication marketing is a huge part of businesses now, and people who aren't joining them, whether it be on Facebook and like other platforms like WhatsApp's in the process of rolling it out as well, you're really going to get left behind. So Instagram's one of those platforms that they will have to do it. It's just when they will. We're just ahead of the trend, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. And to get along a little bit more on the personal side, what's been one of the hardest things to deal with as you build this, since it's such a young company still?
Well, like any business, I guess, like you go through the ups and downs. Like it's been 2 years now since I've started developing it. So I guess kind of being because for myself, like I have my developers overseas, so people I've never met before. So you've got to build trust pretty quick. I've always gone with my gut instinct, but again, there's a lot of, and I've bootstrapped this thing from day one, so I haven't got the investors. So it's not like there was a whole lump sum of money coming in from behind as well. Is kind of making sure that you can stay motivated, and this works for any business, is finding something that you love to do, because there's a lot more dark days in startups than there is the positive days. And I can account for that because for the last 2 years it's been growing and I've been getting good feedback and customers are happy, and then you've got really good friends that support you, like online friends and family, and those are the things that kind of keep you going through those crappier days. But the biggest thing is when you wake up and you're working with a client and they say this worked, they're super excited, they just want to do the next thing with you with the platform, because again, it's tech, there can be a lot of bugs, especially in the beginning and as you're building but everybody that I've worked with has been fantastic, and the people that have came have given me great feedback to be able to build this platform out. So I've taken, I guess the patience is that biggest thing, is kind of learning it and understanding it and being able to stick with it, because I wanted to build out a platform that people wanted, not that I thought that they would need. So has the process been a lot longer? Yeah, sure. Could I have made money a year and a half ago? Probably. But I've just stayed true to what I wanted to develop, and the light's at the end of the tunnel now. And there's just so many people interested in using it, which is fantastic.
And if I'm correct, I think I saw on one of the Facebook groups, or I saw somewhere that I think, was it that Gary Vaynerchuk reached out to you, or he followed you guys, or he became a customer?
No, we do not have him as a customer. We were, how do I word this? We were in talks with some brand managers within their bubble, let's say.
Very cool. That's awesome. I can
Yeah,
imagine.
no, we've got some, like we had type form on our page where people could go and kind of answer the questions, but we've had a lot of pretty big influencers reach out, which is fantastic. A lot of amazing calls, a lot of amazing people that we've been able to have conversations with, can get their feedback. A lot of amazing people that we've been able to work with. We keep everything pretty hush hush for who we work with and kind of how we do it, because again, we're still proving out the platform to the masses.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's been really good of who we worked with and who's coming on board very shortly.
That's awesome, man. And as far as getting the actual product out and what kind of features you want to start adding to the platform or not adding, how are you finding, how are you doing the research, or how are you asking for feedback from people? Are you only going to people that are currently using it, or are you going to people that might be, for example, your ideal customers?
I guess there's a couple ways of looking at that. So the people using the platform, they're kind of giving me feedback within the UI, stuff like that, what they are doing in terms of their business, because it wasn't always kind of that 1% influencer that was on. There was more mid-sized businesses who might not be scaling as fast or have the money to put behind it. What I've done is I'm in contact with a lot of Facebook Messenger bot builders, people that's what they do for a living. So I've made the relationships there with a lot of amazing people and kind of get their feedback. Okay, so in terms of Facebook Messenger bots, what do you love the most? What do you need? And what I shouldn't focus on at all? So the things that I shouldn't focus on at all and the things that we need are the things that we're adding right away. And then as these customers continue to come in, they want other features, because the base of the platform's there. The messaging's pretty straightforward. It's based on triggers. The next message goes out, and so on and so forth. The analytics, same thing. It's about kind of seeing the profile and then reporting it. But the bells and whistles in terms of webhooks and API access, so we can integrate into, sky's the limit, really, when you get into that sort of thing. Those are kind of the conversations I've had. Take a lot of the pros from the Facebook Messenger bots, take all the cons, and then kind of filter them out to say, what do we need on Instagram? And then work with a lot of Instagram influencers who are getting thousands and thousands of messages a day, and how they want to have those messages. Because Facebook, I think, is more of a sales platform. Instagram, I want people to focus on the engagement.
Personal approach.
Personal approach, and not actually burn their accounts just by, I don't want Instagram to turn into another Facebook. So that's kind of the approach I'm taking.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I mean, it's true though, right? And I've been part of some and you see how, I don't know if you've been familiar with this thing, but essentially like when you kind of surround yourself with influencers, they'll have their own groups, and then they'll send out, for example, they'll say, hey, here's my latest picture, like it, and stuff like that. And then everyone that's part of the group goes and likes it. And it's just this kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like a corruption kind of system where
it's kind of tough. So like they call them comment pods or power likes and stuff like that. There's different ways for viral growth, getting yourself into influencers and stuff like that. I also wanted to be able to create a platform that no matter how far you are into your business or onto Instagram, you could join and have success. Because there's a lot of people on Instagram and a lot of people from Facebook that are trying to transfer over that can't figure it out because it's different. The ads are different. There's more people doing it. The content's different, stuff like that. But if we can teach the content side and somebody knows how to run an ad or reach out to an influencer, then you can start building that true value, turning sales over. No, you might not grow your followers as fast, but if you're getting ROI on subscribers and sales, then you can continue to reinvest in the growth side as well. You're going to get, again, if you focus on those 4 types of ROI, sales last, subscribers, followers, engagement, your sales will come. So
it's all about building that trust. It's kind of just thinking of it as a funnel, essentially, just getting everyone at the top of
it's exactly what it is. So we just want to keep funneling people to the value that you have and the content that you're putting up. And because at the end of the day, why should somebody give you the time of day to either engage with you through your direct messaging or on your profile on a picture or something like that?
Right.
Is your content good enough? Does it resonate with them? That's kind of the emotional pain point that each business needs to hit over and over and over and over again.
Absolutely.
But a lot of people just want to jump on. I want to be an influencer. I want 100,000 followers plus, and I'm just going to make money from it. Well, I know a lot of people with 100,000 follower accounts that don't know how to monetize.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I built a tech business with 2,000 followers. So
yes.
You don't need a big following.
And a lot of it actually comes down to having that personalized approach when you just kind of like hop on there and, you know, the only thing you do is try to sell and sell and sell, and you don't provide any sort of value or even just things that people enjoy looking at because it's Instagram. There's a fine line between whether you're kind of like coming off as an annoying, you know, person on Instagram or actually providing some sort of value that is going to lead you to actually monetizing, however that may be.
Yeah. And the thing is with even like, there's more people like me out there. There's more people like you out there. Like it just works. Like, how do you separate yourself from that other person to make everybody fall? Like, again, it just comes down to being different, doing the same thing in the same sort of business, but making yourself stand out that much more, provide that much more value. It's the same spiral over and over.
Yeah. Now, going back a little bit to the product, what are some of the things that your customers at the moment are really liking the most? Like the number one feature that they love?
One of the best features, I think, especially if you know how to use it, Instagram stories are extremely powerful. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those growth tools that people can use to start campaigns. So if you're posting stories all the time, you're behind the camera, you're really personalized behind the business, and you get people to reply to a story, that can enter a campaign. Mm-hmm. Because on a post on your wall, people might not necessarily see it all the time just because of the algorithm and stuff like that. But on a post, you get more eyes on it, and you can continue to post it over and over and over and over. So that's one of our most powerful growth tools besides the ads. But the ads are still tricky to figure out in the beginning.
Yeah.
Just because there's a little bit of friction there with Instagram just kind of testing out the feature, but it's 100% doable. We're running it now and it works great.
That's really cool. And how does it work with, and this might be getting a little bit too much into the details, but let's say I post an Instagram story with one of the options for voting, and it's whether, you know, yes or no, or whatever the answer may be. Is there a way to get a specific workflow started once you click one of those?
No. So with Instagram, they need to message us first. That's the opt-in. Okay. It can't be like on an action, like if they comment on our picture or they like our content or they hit one of the stickers on your stories. Mm-hmm. So what we try and tell people to do is you kind of build up, this is what I'm doing. Like let's say I'm building an Instagram follower to this amount. Would you like to learn how to do the same thing? Yes or no? Next story. If you've clicked yes, reply with Instagram. Uh-huh. And then they get into the flow. Right. So you're building a funnel, which then putting them in a funnel, and then usually getting them to your funnel.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. And as far as just, you know, on the roadmap, what are some of the things that are currently kind of in there, if it's okay to talk about that?
Roadmap meaning?
For the direct for you, is like what's kind of on the works?
So again, we've got the architecture of the whole platform. So like it runs, it's proven, we've done that stuff. We're doing a lot of customization in terms on clients and stuff like that, because what we're testing out is we want to be as close to the Facebook Messenger bots as they'll allow us. Mm. And that's what we're building out. So we're doing it more on a client basis, but right now we've got like the conversation, the growth tools, the tagging, the broadcasting, the analytics. Like we've got there's a lot of stuff that people can get going, start building out those flows and really start understanding their user base, their Instagram followers, let's say. And again, they don't have to be followers to become a subscriber. Mm-hmm. We want you to focus on getting them as a subscriber first. And then as we continue to roll out the features, so like, again, the API, the webhooks, like the different sequencing, different segmentation, starting to kind of get into individual subscriber engagement and starting using those as filtering. We want to work on like e-commerce widgets. Like there's just so many different things that we can do. The easiest way for me to explain is like we've got the conversational, the analytics side done. The cosmetics is what that next big task is for us. And where we're going with it is Facebook Messenger bots on Instagram.
Very cool. That's definitely simplified. And as far as, what was I going to ask? You mentioned essentially the product market fit, right? And how it's pretty much there. Did you have to do a lot of, I think we talked about this before starting the podcast, but did you have to do a lot of research or trying to find the perfect fit if you already know that the product is working well pretty much on a different platform?
To be honest, no. I kind of just winged it in the end. Because like when I started 2 years ago, I didn't know a lot about chatbots. I've kind of heard it a little bit, but didn't do any research. What I created, and what I mentioned before, is the 7-day follow-up, kind of like an email sequence. Because this is, again, before chatbots really started to blow up. Right after all that, that's when they really started to take off. So then and we ran into some issues with testing and stuff like that. And that's kind of, we brought in the conversational side because it keeps the flow of the conversation going better. We didn't want it to turn into email marketing in terms of you only get a small percentage of open rate. We wanted to keep it like the messenger where, I don't know what it is, 80, 90% open rate. That's where we want to keep it. So that's why we turned it more into conversation. So if somebody's asking for what you're giving them, they're going to open it.
Yeah.
It's the same concept of Facebook. And that's where I've been super fortunate. It's like, I'm not recreating the wheel. I'm not recreating a market. I'm just putting that wheel and market on Instagram, which I believe is going to be a more powerful platform when people figure out how to do it properly. Because what I feel like not an expert, I don't really like the word, but I do really well in is figuring out the viral strategies, the organic strategies by utilizing tools. Because at the end of the day, if you can cut costs for businesses, cost and time, that's a huge business.
Oh, it's value. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's where I've always focused for myself. And that's how I've built Direct Heroes. That's how I built my e-commerce business. That's how I've built Direct Heroes. So now that's all I'm trying to teach people is how to do it for themselves by utilizing one tool and a bit of ad spend.
Yeah. It's just using leverage essentially and creating that with whatever you can.
That's what I try and teach people outside of Direct Heroes is leverage what you have to get to that next point. If you can leverage your time, leverage it. If you've got a product, leverage it. Like e-commerce stores, they're trying to think, okay, well, I don't have enough money for ads, but they've got 10,000 units in their basement. Send out some of those units. They're worth something. Yeah. Exchange them for shout outs, give them to influencers, give them to people. And then what you can do as well on Instagram is repurpose that stuff for content. Yeah. Because people want to visually see, it's not just like, on Instagram, it's not like post a picture of your product and do that over and over and over and people buy. It's not that. Yeah. They want to visually see themselves being able to use that product or service. That's where that value comes in. That's where you continue to purchase it. That's why Instagram stories are super powerful.
Yeah, definitely. And as far as pricing goes, I don't know if I went through the website. I didn't see any pricing. Is it free right now?
No, so we're going to have a lower entry point for basic. I've always had a price point. Everybody who's used it since day one is always paid for it. I always believe that people paying up front are more likely to work when they actually do join. That's just kind of that motto I've always had. I also didn't want bot builders and marketers, just spammy marketers joining. Just sending out a whole bunch of messages, ruining the platform. Yeah. We're going to get into the same sort of payment plan as the CRM systems and the chatbots where it scales based on subscribers. We are going to have a price point to join, whether it be really small. And then as you scale, it'll move you into let's say the pro package, and then it will continue to scale with your subscribers. But again, same thing. We're using the same model as, let's say, ManyChat.
Yeah. Very cool. It goes back to not recreating the wheel and just using what's already been put in place.
No, and we're trying to use the same sort of dialogue as well. So I don't know how many people are on ManyChat. Like there's thousands of people using ManyChat, and there's a lot of experienced people on ManyChat. So if I can tap into even 2% of those people and get them over into direct heroes, and they can join and run the platform the same way they would run their ManyChat without having any confusion, the support that I'm going to have to deal with as well will be less, because it's just a seamless process. It's an easy transition.
And it's just making it easier for everyone. It's making it easier to actually become a customer where. Okay.
Exactly. Just acquiring customers, they'll just drop.
Yeah.
They'll drop significantly. It's kind of like funnel hacking, but not really. It's one of those things. It's just more common sense than anything.
Yeah, definitely.
But people want to put their own brand on it, and I get that. And we've got branding because that's just how your business grows. Like, we've got our colors, you've got certain things that look a different way. But if you can kind of tweak it to make your business look similar to something that you're competing against, or something that's grown and you're doing it differently to kind of tap that market. Yeah. It's just, again, the training process, the acquiring the customer, just make it that much easier for yourself.
That's really cool, man. As far as, overcoming things, again, going back to the personal kind of life, what are some of the things that you feel like kind of limit you, if that's the right word, of kind of, putting everything you have on the table?
I think really, because like, I came from no tech background at all, came from no money to build a tech business. So in terms of like direct limitations that you would see from the outside, like you would say those would be the two biggest ones for building a tech business. But I never looked at that at all. I think the only limitation for usually people like entrepreneurs and like influencers and stuff like this say all the time, the real only limitation is yourself and your own belief in what you're trying to do. And if you can overcome that, there really is no limitations, because you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You'll make it work, or you'll do something extra, because I don't have more time in my day than you do.
Absolutely.
We all have the same time. So no, I'm just working 18, 20 hours a day, while somebody might only be working 6 or 7. And that's just kind of the mindset. It's more of a mindset limitation than anything. It comes down to ourselves at the end of the day, because there's money out there. Like, the market's out there. You just got to figure it out.
That's awesome. Do you like to read?
No.
All right. I'm not going to ask a question then.
The last book I read was Gary Vee's second version of Crush It.
Okay. I don't know if I read the second one or the first one.
Crush It was the first one, and Crushing It was the second one, I believe. Yeah. I read it beginning of last summer. Okay. I read a lot of articles and stuff like that. So I'm constantly reading, but in terms of sitting and reading a book, I just can't get my mind wrapped around it. I've just never been a strong reader. Because I learn differently. I'm more of that visual hands-on learner. And I know you're not reading to learn, but you kind of are to an extent. I need to read something that's, I'm not a big reader.
No worries at all, man. Where can people find you online? Or actually, a couple more questions. What is a SaaS company that you look up to?
To be honest, ActiveCampaign. We recently started using them for obviously our email marketing side, and their support is just fantastic. Like, maybe they don't have the best tech product. We haven't been using it long enough, or we haven't used very many to kind of give that.
To compare them to a different one.
But for me, in any business, any product, any service, support. I don't care what the cost is. If the support's there, it's just like, for me, Apple. I feel like if I go in the Apple store and I have an issue, it is fixed. Like, I just love their support. I won't switch just based on that. So I look at businesses for that part first, and then kind of how it deals with it because I can get past a bug or an issue in a tech company if the support's there. It's like they have free support where you can call them anytime. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
It's just the best.
And it's,
go ahead.
Is it human, like, is it literally human support 24/7?
Real people. Yeah, real people. Real people.
That's pretty
real
impressive.
People support. Yeah, it's super good. And when the guy that I was talking to, so we onboarded, I had 3 onboarding calls 2 weeks apart, and we didn't have to have them. He's like, just let me know if you want to have the calls. We can walk through the whole platform again. And he was fantastic. He was great. He would send me all the information I need. He walked me through what our business needed at the time. And then he said, if you need more information, just book a call. So they have people delegated to this. And then additionally, they have their live support when you're logged in. And then additionally, they have email support.
That's really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the big ones that I've kind of looked up to, especially in the last few months since we started using them. And then additionally, like ManyChat's been a huge inspiration for us because I wouldn't be where Direct Heroes is without it.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But yeah, Chatfuel, ManyChat, those two for sure.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And where can people find you online?
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, really any of the platforms. Instagram for sure, obviously. Facebook, pretty active on there. That's where we keep a lot of the business. LinkedIn, on LinkedIn. Those are the three biggest ones. And yeah, like people can reach out through our website and stuff like that. And I usually reach out to everybody when I get a chance. So I'm pretty open for conversation.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome, man. Thank you very much for being on here. It's a pleasure having you and learning a lot more about Direct Heroes and what you're up to. And honestly, the potential for your company. It looks like there's going to be a lot of really cool things coming from you guys. And I cannot wait to see what, people, essentially, not just you guys, but just people can do with this and how businesses are going to thrive by using this tool. So again, congratulations on just everything you've done so far. It's awesome. And like I said, I told you before we hopped on the podcast, like I've been seeing you for a while and I've seen ads and I've seen people talk about it. So it's really cool. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to have you on the show.
No, I really appreciate it. No, it's good to talk to you.
Thank you. And for everyone that's watching, thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can find me on Instagram too, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. And if you're a SaaS founder, make sure to join the group and get on the podcast. It'd be a pleasure having you. And I challenge every single one of you to do something that is just great, whether it's personal or business. Just go out there and do something. So thank you so much for being on here today, Jeff. It was a pleasure having you.
Yeah, you as well. Take care.